The construction reduction event is on at Wolf Chase Honda. Exciting changes are in the works and inventory must be reduced. Get the best deals right now on all remaining 2019 Hondas while they last. Every new car, every certified, every used car, price to go. Get pre-approved now at wolfchasehonda.com. Wolf Chase Honda is expanding and our prices are dropping. Don't miss these savings. Act now. This huge construction reduction event ends soon.
For the best lineup of quality, fuel-efficient, and fun-to-drive vehicles, get to Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan. Over 1,000 new certified and pre-owned vehicles in one great location. Catch the savings now during our huge model year-end sales event. Score an amazing deal at Wolf Chase Honda and Wolf Chase Nissan and get to the game in style at Germantown Road and Highway 64. Family-owned since 1981.
The Vargas family, legendary Memphis restaurateur, starting with Mr. Charlie and continuing today with his grandchildren.
Brett, it just dawned on me the other day that while Memphis is celebrating its bicentennial, the Rendezvous has been here well over one-third of Memphis's existence. But we're not a place to rest on our laurels or reputation. We're always trying to add new things to make our customers' experience more enjoyable. Friday lunches have always been special because we give away our red beans and rice. But we are now adding a sausage sandwich.
John, we first got a taste of it at the golf tournament.
It's the same sausage we serve on our cheese and sausage plate, but it will be served lengthwise on the bun with beans and slaw on the side. We've also partnered with a company called Devillet out of Dyersburg to introduce a new sweet glazed mustard with Rendezvous seasoning in it. It will really go great with a sandwich. I still recommend adding slaw. As I've mentioned before, my grandfather had a hot dog stand on Beale Street in 1916, and that's the same slaw he used. So here we are now 103 years later, and we've come full circle using his slaw on our hot dogs. Hope to see you this Friday at the Rendezvous.
In the alley in downtown Memphis.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Welcome in on a gloomy kind of a Tuesday, but at least it's dry for the moment. Nice to have you aboard, both Wolo and Stats in studio in the Family Leisure Studios today, where we, as always, will be busy. We're going to talk a little college and high school basketball with our friend Charlie Leonard. His team still, by the way, third in the city, and a team I think that could win a state title. And then we will chat with Brent Beard, college football and college basketball. Good special guest today, friend of both Brett's and mine, Tim Brando from Fox Sports. He had some really interesting sort of his company, he's Fox, right, on the way they did the Super Bowl. We'll chat with him a little bit, and he does a lot of Big Ten basketball and Pac-12 basketball. We'll chat with him about that. Beau Marchant will join us, and then we're going to get out of here about a half hour early because the Ole Miss Rebels are playing their biggest rival, the dreaded enemy.
Go ahead and say it.
Mississippi State.
Say it. It has to be said when they play in basketball, Drew.
The Egg Bowl on the hardwood.
You got it.
The Egg Bowl on the hardwood.
Everybody's got to say that. I don't know why.
I didn't know that I had to say that. Is that a copyrighted thing?
Well, or the Iron Bowl on the hardwood, or the cocktail party on the hardwood, or the Red River Shootout. I don't know why they do it. It's good atmosphere, but it doesn't touch the football.
Well, they play
atmosphere.
twice in a season.
It's what I always say about North Carolina and Duke, and we are just beaten to death with. It's the best rivalry in all of college sports. It's so good we can do it again in 2 more weeks.
Right.
And might do it again in 3 more at the ACC tournament.
And you notice how they always play. They don't play those games till the end of the regular season, and then you go right into the tournament. So you could play each other 3 times in about 3 weeks.
I do think someday Duke and North Carolina meeting in a Final Four, that would be off the charts. Kentucky and Louisville, they've done it. Mm-hmm. That would be off the charts.
We've had a couple of very interesting press conferences in the last 24 hours or so. First, Zach Kleiman. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but how can you not help but be impressed with Zach Kleiman and what his vision is, not compromising anything for this year, but still could win this year. And we got a heck of a game coming up tomorrow.
Portland plays tonight. That's a tough back-to-back for the Trailblazers.
And they're in New Orleans, are they
That's
not?
right.
Yeah, a team that's also still not exactly totally
You hope a
out
little
of the mix.
New Orleans flu gets to them, if you know what I mean.
I hope so.
You can live through it. You just think you're going to die for a few days.
Here's the thing. I'm sure this time they're taking them out and flying them here. Sometimes,
I don't know. Not with the new sleep doctors.
I don't know.
I don't know.
They're
so tired.
This one could be interesting. I think later in this program, I will give away 2 tickets to the Portland Grizzlies game tomorrow. We'll figure something out a little bit later. Maybe we'll combine that with a 6-pack.
I'll match you with 2.
Okay. So we're going to give away 40. We're going to give away 4 tickets. They're not in the same place. 2 and 2, but we'll make this a big package. 4 of these and maybe some Germantown commissary. What do you think? Okay. We will do that a little bit later in this.
What was the other press conference?
The other press conference I just literally sprinted from. And that is Penny talking about Cincinnati.
Can you still run?
I can. That's why I work out. So I'm trying to lose weight.
I don't know that I could run if I had to run.
I feel like I could still run.
It just you can. You're 24 years old, 26 years old.
I'm 25.
25 years old.
I don't know. My back's hurting right now a little bit.
If you can't run,
my heel hurts
that's
so bad. I don't know that I could.
Well, I think there's always circumstances that change things. It just depends on what you're running from is what you might be able to
run. If he was big and bad enough.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't get me by the hair, so I'm in good shape there.
You are. You're absolutely good there.
So if I could get my shoes off and run, I probably could extricate myself.
I would keep your shoes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be the wisest way to go.
My heel hurts so bad, though.
Maybe you don't have the right shoes. People, you can see our friend Brett, if you haven't over all these years, but you can see him on all the different things that we have. We're streaming, and it was really nice yesterday. Yesterday, somebody came in and talked about that's how they see us. Because being old, I have my doubts about how much the streaming stuff is.
Oh, we love it. Thank you. Yeah.
And he pointed out that there is a significant amount of audience.
But they can't see my heel. They don't know what I have.
No, but they know you always dress to the nines. I mean, there's never anything out of place with you, and you wear.
What's that got to do with my heel?
Because you have to wear dress shoes.
I don't have on dress shoes. I got on very comfortable shoes, but any shoes I wear, my left heel hurts.
No, if you went out and you got good Nikes or good Adidas,
I've got them. I wear them. They kill me.
Those kill you?
The Nikes kill me worse than anything.
Well, do me a favor. Go to a podiatrist already then.
I've been. I know what causes it, but.
What is it?
It still hurts.
It's not OLD. You're not that old.
It just hurts constantly. I mean, like right now. If I could elevate it, I think I'd be better.
Are you sure you just don't like complaining?
No, I don't like complaining at all. Okay. When was the last time you heard me complain?
I just heard you complain about
Before that time, when was the last time you ever heard me complain?
I'd have to think about
That's the answer.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, the press conference. Other people are hurting. However, the good news is Malcolm Dandridge, who, by the way, played a significant role in the win at home against Cincinnati with his defense on their big guy, Chris Vogt, he practiced yesterday. Lance Thomas, who left the game early, he practiced yesterday. But you know who didn't practice yesterday? Precious Achiuwa, the freshman of the year in the American Athletic Conference. And I think the player of the year is still to be determined, wouldn't you say? I mean, I can't say who it is. Could be somebody from Houston if they continue.
It's not on a sixth-place team, though, in the league.
No, certainly not going to be from a sixth place. That's why I say it's still to be determined. I think Houston would probably be the favorite to win it right now, and there's a bunch of guys on there. There's a freshman on that team that can give Precious a run for his money, this kid named Mills, who's really getting more and more rope to play with from Kelvin Sampson. And then, you got to think Cincinnati's back in play, and Cumberland is playing like the defending player of the year. I don't think Tulsa's going to end up holding up. But if they did, Brandon Rochelle would be the guy that you would have to be thinking about. And then if you were putting in Memphis, and by the way, Memphis is tied for fourth. SMU is in the mix with them. you'd have to say precious. But there's still a lot to be determined. There's 8 games left out of an 18-game regular season.
But didn't it really kind of start the tipping point with the James Wiseman news?
Sure.
And then bucking the NCAA and playing him. And now you would just have to hope.
Well,
the university got some clearance from the NCAA that there's not going to be any reprisal.
Hindsight is 20/20. I would have to think that if this were happening all over again, that when that first game was South Carolina State, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the news came right before the South Carolina State game that he couldn't play and that the suspension was going to be for 9 games.
No, that was the Friday night game against UIC that they played him in spite of.
Was that the first game?
Played South Carolina State, then that Friday night against UIC, and then played him on the national TV game against Oregon.
But the word came the very first game. If that's South Carolina State, then I'm right.
It was opening night.
Okay. So if they had said that.
Very few people knew about that, though, that they said don't play.
No. We knew before the game because that's when they went and got the.
That was Friday night against UIC. He played opening night with the undercurrent that there might be a problem, but it really wasn't that public. And then Friday was the big breaking press conference, and that he was going to play, and everybody. And that's the problem with the Revolution is it's fine until big wins.
Whatever the game was, where they went before the game, Penny missed the pregame show because they were in consultation.
That was game 2.
They were calling, and I'm trying to remember the judge that gave them a stay and allowed James to play in the game.
And I'm told in legal circles they could have kept every one of the case entirely here, home team.
They could have done it throughout the entire year, and then we could have gotten the slammer and the death penalty and whatever else you were fearful of. So they opted after the game in Portland not to do that. James actually dropped it. He went to Leslie Ballin and said,
well, he was encouraged to.
I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sure the university asked him to do that, and he did.
The university leadership during that time, whether it came from the very top in the administration, from Rudd, or the top of the athletics department, and a very new AD, just barely minted AD, Laird Veach, that now looks like a big mistake. Well, unless they know there's not going to be any reprisal.
The bottom line is, had it just been 9 games and they did it from the South Carolina State game or even that game, then maybe he would have been here and maybe things would have been different. And maybe if Ray John Tucker had come, we'd be playing for a national championship. Right, that's my point. It didn't happen, and this is what it is. And to me, there is a touch of irony now. We have got 2 incredibly important games back-to-back, one in Memphis, one in Cincinnati, Wednesday and Thursday, that are truly barometer and fateful games for the future of both of the franchises. When Memphis takes on Portland, the Grizzlies have a chance with the team that's chasing them to put a game worth of distance on them and really know that a team trying to get at them can't. That's, to me, a major, major barometer game.
Especially if they lose tonight.
And then in Cincinnati on Thursday night, you've got a team that you've already beaten by 11 but is getting better, and they are really a different team at home, especially against Memphis. You know, the last time the Tigers beat the Bearcats in that new arena, it wasn't new then. 2008 is the last time they were able to win a game there. So you're talking 12 years ago that it's been since the Tigers won one in the Queen City. So it's a long time, and that was a great team that won at Cincinnati. And if you were totally healthy and you didn't lose that game to South Florida, which is, I think, softened or fractured or certainly frayed their fragile psyche, and that's another thing that Penny Hardaway talked about today. He goes, young people in this new culture, the AAU culture, we'll call it, and maybe that is not fair to AAU, but I think you get my drift here, of elite athletes playing all these summer games, that you can't be tough on them. You can't be the way Larry Finch was to Penny Hardaway. You can't be, this according to Penny, that way now. You have to spend a lot of time pumping them up and be very careful about when you're critiquing, when you're trying to make them play a certain way, that it's got to be a positive way because they're sensitive. And this team's psyche has certainly been frayed. So it's a tough going.
How would they react if they got booed by the home crowd? How would they react if they got the Brady White treatment?
I don't know.
How can Brady White get booed at an AAC game?
I don't know.
But yet these fragile souls can't.
Well, that's up to the fans, really. Certainly, the coaches had nothing to do with telling the fans to boo Brady White or to boo this team.
I don't think either should be booed. But Brady White has won and done more than any of this basketball team has.
Bottom line is he was booed in a championship game, which to me
before
is
halftime,
unfathomable.
With a 4-point deficit, 14-10, 13-10, whatever the score was. But this team, I think it started to unravel with James Wiseman. That was a big hit. That would be a big hit to anybody. And now it's a very fragile young team with an inexperienced coach, and it looks it.
It does. It looks that way, and they're not the same team they were when they beat Cincinnati. They're certainly not as healthy as when they beat Cincinnati. But nonetheless, if you were to win at Cincinnati for the first time in 12 years, take over a team that now is starting to look like one that could win the American Athletic Conference, then you would be right back where you were prior to the USF game.
And I think that there's something to losing by 40. That is, I would love. I'm not going to do it, but I would love for somebody to do it for me. In a college basketball season, at any point that you lost by 40, just how good did that year end for that team?
I don't know.
I can't imagine very good.
That Tulsa team has beaten. They beat Temple by 36. It's a weird year. There were scores. I was looking at this. There was an ACC team that's a decent team that's certainly in the mix. They lost a game in the 30s this year. It's just that kind of crazy year.
This hour brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2020 models and always on special lease options. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus of Memphis thinks you would look great in a Lexus as well. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS 500, and you'll be looking and driving great. Lexus of Memphis, the high standards in the industry. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
This has to do with something I referenced a little earlier. It was Zach Kleiman's press conference yesterday, where he talked about being very well aware of cap space.
Were you invited to the press conference?
And free agency. I personally was not.
I was not either. Just another select few.
I don't know. I think that's what the story said, a select few. And you know what? I'm not for exclusionary preferable treatment for certain members of the press. And the only way that stops is if all the members of the press get together and say, if you don't invite us all, we're not coming. And that would be...
Because all the hot take scoop artists want to be there.
Well, that's not the way the amendment is supposed to work for free press. And that needs to probably stop.
Have you lodged any complaint?
I have not. Honestly, I enjoy this Grizzlies story. I think it is a great story.
I do too.
And I think it's really 180, and this is why we love sports. It is 180 from where we thought this year would be. We thought at this point in the season, Memphis would be talking tournament time, possible national championship, and the Grizzlies, would they be conveying the pick to Boston or not? Would they be keeping it? How much better was Jaren Jackson getting? Forget John Morant. That's what we expected in the preseason, and what you're getting now is two critical games. One, is this team capable of really making the playoffs? And you get a real true sense Wednesday night. And where is this Tiger team now? Is there any chance to still become an at-large to the tournament? And it starts in Cincinnati on Thursday with a team that may not be 100%, 180. But this guy climbing everything. He's asked about.
Great job.
What about draft picks? Well, we could take a chance on draft picks, but I know my number one plan, my A plan, was to get this guy because he's a perfect fit. And what are the odds that we would find a guy a perfect fit even if we took draft picks? So this was the way to go. His philosophy sounds so sound to me. If I were a fan, he said everything I would want to hear, and I would have total faith in him and in this front office. And it's hard for me to say that because I'm not sure I would have believed that coming into the year. Winslow, according to him, is the perfect fit, even though he got a D grade on that play by ESPN. But the way it works is this guy seems to have it down, and I believe in him.
On the media availability, I think you invite everybody that's credentialed, and whomever shows, and whoever doesn't. But why would you do that when you have your own media arm, really?
But how much, seriously? And I don't know the answer to that because I'll be honest with you, I've done it on Grind City once. That's it.
My top story?
Are they really breaking stories still, or has that thing been abandoned? I don't think they really break all the stories.
My top story, baseball announces a plan for playoff changes, and the football crowd tells us that what we need to do in baseball. I love this morning watching some of the football analysts on Hot Take TV talk about nobody watches baseball. No, that's not true. They don't watch baseball. And I love they always roll out the average age of the baseball fan at being around 56, 57 years old. It's always interesting. It's always around my age. And when I get to the ballpark, I make a point now for all these years that it's been the average age has been around my age from about 48 on. That's what it's been. And I go and I look around in a circle. I'm going to say 6, 8 fans in a circle. So I don't know how many that would encompass. And I'm always the oldest one. I see young people at all the games that I go to, and it's not just Cardinal games, but it's mostly at Busch Stadium when I go to Major League Baseball. So I don't know where they get that number from.
Well, when I go to AutoZone Park and I go to Redbirds games, I see families. I see a lot of young people.
I do too.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But here come the changes in baseball. Yeah. I'm not going to let it drive me crazy because if it's already gotten to this point with Manfred, it's at critical mass. They're going to do it, and I can't stop it.
Not top story of the day.
So that actually is my not top story, is this baseball postseason craziness. Now, I know you're a purist. I don't think you want the playoffs expanded. I could live with that, and I actually don't mind the model they'd use where you would have basically 14 teams making the playoffs. One team would get a bye.
14 out of 30, 7 from each league, 7 out of 15.
Correct. And there would be 2 byes. The best team in each league would get the first round off. I actually don't mind that. What I don't like.
What did I win?
Wolo bingo for the week.
For the year.
For the year.
I knew he would lead with I'm a traditionalist, but then throw it over the wayside.
I said you were a traditionalist.
But you've always said you were too.
I'm a traditionalist in certain areas. I hate the designated hitter. But this...
Dave, I think that's established law.
What is established law?
The designated hitter. It's been around since 73.
I hate it.
It ain't going away.
Oh, I know. I think the National League is going to end up adopting it. It's going to be what we do.
Last year,
but I don't like that. But I don't mind this. But I don't like this other crazy stuff which makes no sense to me. The best of the division, or of the league, really, which is the second best team in that league, doesn't get to pick the opponent, but the other two do. And why are we doing that? Why would the second, what becomes the third
TV,
best
Dave.
record? It is reality.
We want
TV.
baseball to look like the WWE.
I don't like that.
We want baseball to be stooges.
If you want to expand it, fine, but let's do it with some sense.
Here's what I want baseball to do.
Like it's the Wives of New Jersey.
I want baseball to have a desk and have Dave Brown and Lance Russell in front of the desk, and they name the teams. Let's be total clowns and be just like studio wrestling. That's what baseball really needs to do.
Again, it is craziness to me. It's the not top story. I could be happy if they didn't expand postseason, but if they did, at least do it with dignity and mathematics.
I would be
rather
happy.
than this stupid thing that you think is going to draw you attention. I don't think it does.
I would be happy if they would reduce the postseason. My not top story, NFL can do what they darn well please, and they will. They can make the schedule and the times. They can flex anything. They can flex the day before if they want to. And the reason why they do not care one thing about the props in the stands that are called fans. They care about what their TV partners think, and if they can make 1 extra cent, they're going to do it.
Your point is well taken, that the National Football League gets so much dollars out of their television deals and all the other ancillary products that they get that come from watching television for their fans. They don't care about the ones in the stadium. It has become a studio product. That's what it is. It does not matter who's in the ballpark. They like the noise, but it's not
They like them buying jerseys.
because that is not where the money is coming from.
And they like them buying a $10 12-ounce beer, which is pure D sinful.
This portion of the show brought to you by Family Leisure. You've got to get to Family Leisure and take advantage of the new stuff coming in. They say, very straight up, help us make room. We've got incoming inventory. We've got to move stuff out like floor model spas. You can save thousands. I didn't say 1,000. I said thousands. Floor model play gyms up to 50% off. Patio furniture anywhere from 10 up to 50% off. Don't wait till May to purchase your swimming pool. If you buy it now, you get scheduled for spring installation. When everybody else is still waiting to get their pool in, you're swimming. Do it now and save some money, because there are additional discounts on all the swimming pools, plus grills and fire pits. Those are cool. And the outdoor kitchens. All you've got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road. This stuff's going to end soon because all of it will be moved out. Get there while it's there at 2120 Whidden Road, where Family Leisure is and where family and fun all come together. We are back in a minute. Charlie Leonard will join us here in 1 second. College and high school basketball, that's on the docket next. We're just underway on this Tuesday edition of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56, 96.1 FM, and 87.7.
Spend your lunch with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 middays, delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Make your day smoking with the Big Green Egg. You can smoke, bake, roast, sear, and grill, all with a lifetime warranty. Ceramic never rusts, and the easy, accurate temperature control gives you the greatest range of any grill. Make your next grill your last with the Big Green Egg. Available at these nearby locations: Hamilton Fireplace Shop, 4462 Summer Avenue; Germantown Hardware Company, 2083 South Germantown Road; Garden Spas and Pool, 9393 Poplar Avenue; and East Memphis Ace Hardware, 5143 Quince Road.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. When was the last time you had your heating system cleaned? How about a safety inspection? Right now, Conway Services is offering our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system for only $69. That's right, for only $69, we'll come out and perform our 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up on your heating system. We'll also do a complete safety inspection using our state-of-the-art camera to make sure your heating system is safe to operate this winter. Plus, we'll run a carbon monoxide test on your heating system, all for only $69. You can have the peace of mind knowing your heating system is safe and ready to use on those cold winter nights. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And call this week and we'll perform your super tune-up for only $57.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Conway today.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Ben Swinger Glass in Midtown, located at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass. Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back into the Family Leisure Studios. Wolo and Stats with you, having a good time.
Gabe Kuhn wants to DH.
Figures.
It's coming. It's coming across baseball.
I know.
Let me tell you what's going to happen to baseball. You're going to have no American League, no National League. It's just going to be one. It's going to be a DH.
I hope that does.
It's going to be a DH across the board. There's going to be re-entry. You come out in the third, you go back in the eighth.
No.
Get ready for it.
No. I
remember where you heard it.
I totally think you're wrong.
You'll live long enough to see it. No doubt you will. And I will keep going until my last breath to baseball. They cannot run me off. They're trying hard.
They'll never run you out. You're right.
They will never run me off. If missing the 1994 World Series didn't, with billionaires fighting with millionaires didn't, then I'm never not going to go. I got 2 trips planned this year, and I'm not going to miss them for anything. Orioles 1st of April,
and if they go,
Blue Jays 1st,
and they're going to go
June.
They're going to increase.
Sure.
Playoffs.
Sure. There's no stopping.
I hope they don't do that stupid sideshow stuff, but they're going.
They're going to, because that works, man. Getting in somebody's face and having a big, loud, hot take. That's sports now. That's what's cool.
That's not.
Is getting somebody that goes woo and screams and hollers. That's what makes sports great.
All right. Let's talk about the new generation, since we've already brought this up a little bit. Charlie Leonard joins us now. Charlie, a good afternoon to you. I just came in from a press conference where Penny said something interesting today. He
would really be cool if I brought my guitar to the studio and played it. That really works.
I don't think that would go.
All right, what Penny have to say?
He basically said today's player, and he said it. He first saw it when he got with AAU. He said today's young guy, these freshmen that he's got, he cannot be a screamer. He cannot be really hard on them. That he basically has to accentuate the positive. Nothing like when he was a player, because trust me, Larry Finch never babied anybody, even his star, Penny Hardaway. But that it is a different ball game now. Do you see that at your level? Do you coach the same way now than you did when you won a state tournament with David Midlick and with Ben Spiva, I think it was, way back when in the early 80s?
It's everybody does things. Each generation they change. It doesn't make any difference. Henry Iba coached differently than people coached in the 70s. You coach different in the 80s. And you always have to adapt. So I don't know whether or not that is supposed to be some kind of finger pointing at the kids being soft. In some cases, kids today are smarter than we were.
I agree.
From a standpoint of they have so much more exposure at an earlier age to the game. Therefore, the good players, they think the game probably better than kids did at the same age 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's a different, it's a completely different world.
Isn't that what
kids
is
are
what
worried
ultimately,
about their image?
Charlie? Isn't that what ultimately got Bobby Knight?
Oh yeah. Oh, it wasn't ultimate. I mean, when you have when they throw zero tolerance at you, you're doing it to yourself. But yeah, that's basically what happened. And you've got to be sure that you understand, what the parameters are. And each year the parameters change. We're such a litigious society now that, and people move so frequently now that if you yell at the wrong kid the wrong way, boom, they pack up and take an apartment in somebody else's school district and suckers beating your tail. So coaches have a tendency to adjust. I'm kind of too old to change too much of my, I ain't changing my spots too much now. But yeah, I think Penny's right. But it's across the board different. It's not that they're softer. It's a whole different generation of access points to the kid.
No,
one thing.
Let me point out, when Penny was making this statement, I don't believe he was trying to take a shot at any of his guys or AAU or anything of that nature.
Oh, I guarantee you was.
He was just basically saying how he has to now try to figure out how to build these guys back up, how to reach them, because clearly they are shaken by losing that basketball game to USF. They've now lost 3 home games that in his mind, there's no way they should have lost those games. And yelling at them is not going to do the trick because that doesn't do it with this generation. This generation could never have played for Bobby Knight.
Oh, and I think that's a given. But at the same time, you have to. The kids, once kids know the boundaries, then it's a matter of what choices do they make to go outside the boundaries. And then there's always got to be repercussions. There's got to be accountability. And I think the accountability thing is one of the things that is kind of changed.
Yeah, he said that.
But like I said
that
earlier,
word was uttered by him as well.
Yeah, but I think a big part of it is that these kids, they got more bouncing around on their table than we did when we were kids. It's just that everywhere from social media, you got so much stuff in your ear, and it's harder for kids now to stay focused on, hey, this is where we're trying to go, and your job as a coach. Whereas before you would drive them to that spot. Now it's a matter of, hey, let's get there together.
Is this the best time to ever coach, Charlie?
It should be, but it probably isn't, depending upon what your perspective is from a standpoint of coaching. There's the distraction standpoint makes it really it's a juggling routine. What's into the kids' ears. We're literally a week away from district tournaments cracking, and all of a sudden you've got kids. I look up in the gym the other day, and I'm watching our freshmen. All of a sudden, I look up and I see 2 AAU coaches sitting there, and I'm thinking, I should be mad, but I'm not, because I know they're doing their thing. They're getting ready to, they're trying to swoop in and grab the kid before he commits to another AAU team in a month or so. Yeah, it really just depends on your perspective on what's the kid trying to get out of it. And how can you handle the fact that those kids have a ton more distractions than we did?
Well, the distractions can be the group around them too, and that was referenced by Penny this afternoon. That honestly, he said, "quote I only listened to Larry Finch. He was my coach. It was his team. We did what he told us." And he said it's not that way now because there is the group around the kid. And that could be parents.
Correct.
That could be the AAU coach. That could be uncle. That could be your neighbor across the way that's been with you since you were a little kid and you're part of his group, or whatever it may be. Those are the distractions.
Classmates.
Yeah.
Correct. It's your classmates. It's your girlfriends. It's your girlfriend's dad. It's it's just, and the thing about it is, you can either fight it or you can, I don't want to say accept it, but you can acknowledge that that's it. And then you got to find a better way to skin the cat. And that's what Penny's basically talking about, is we skin the cat a little differently than was done 30 years ago.
Well, everything changes in life. That's part of it. It all changes, and those are the changes that we are at right now. But I guess the truism is that you have to be a different kind of a coach now than you were when you won that state championship. That's just because the kids are different.
Yeah. If you're any good at what you do, you adapt and make sure that it works for those kids. I mean, you can't beat them over the head with it all the time. I mean, not that I've been known to do that, but it's one of those things where you just have to understand what the dilemma is or what the circumstances are, and you have to figure a way to get to whatever your end goal is.
I often wonder, and this would have been a question. Ted Anderson used to be on this show a lot, and of course he was with George a lot. And I wonder, when he went from Hamilton to Douglas, if he changed the way that he coached. Sylvester Ford Sr. was, I think his son is now coaching at Fairleigh, right? But Sylvester Ford Sr. was the coach there for 30 years. Do you think he ever changed the way he coached from when he was at the beginning through his son to just 5 years ago?
Well, but you got to realize, what's available. When text messaging and cell phones and when we started, there wasn't the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just
there weren't cell phones either. You're right about that. There wasn't texting.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There wasn't text messaging until 2003, 4, 5, somewhere in there. So I mean, the connectivity of our society changes. It has a direct impact on how the people within that society think and react. And your job as a coach is to understand that's not the problem. The problem is you're still trying to get your kids to do what's best for the group and for that individual, long term. And it's the long term stuff that our kids have problems with nowadays, because it is such an immediacy generated world. That's where Penny, myself, and anybody else that has been around for a while, you just have to be able to deal with it.
Charlie, I don't think it's necessary, especially if it's done in a respectful, polite way. But I've had college coaches, both basketball and football, tell me that they do not require, they don't make, and I don't think it's necessary, they don't make their youngsters say yes, sir, and no, sir. I don't think that has to be done. I know it was in our years, but I think, a respectful, non in your face, yes or no, can be done. What do you think about? Do you require your youngsters yes or no, sir?
I've been I can't tell you how lucky I have been from that standpoint. I mean, everywhere from here to LSU to North Texas to the University of Memphis to CBU to CBHS to Memphis Prep, that's never been a problem. You can either be one of those people that commands respect, or you can be one that demands respect.
Exactly.
And if you do it properly, you can command respect. Every once in a while, you're going to cross the railroad tracks and meet head on. So, but the kids, that goes back to mom and dad. That's societal. It's easy to get kids to do stuff when it's reinforced at home. Just like the conflicts and the immediacy dealing with kids, that it comes from home. So if you've got kids that come from a tough background, you got to show them how things work in normal society and how it'll help them. Everybody going to listen when they understand that you're helping them.
Agreed.
But sometimes you got to break down those walls to get to the point where that kid or that parent or whoever it is understands that you're in it for their benefit. And once they know you're on their side, then the lesson's going to be received.
All right, we're getting ready, as you just said, for the playoffs. East is number one, although they had a shaky week. They lost. They barely won over Central. Then they did knock off Overton, but by under double digits. But they stayed number one, which kind of surprised me. Briarcrest with Kennedy Chandler continues to be 2, and you with your 3 or 4 Division I players. You are still 3rd, Whitehaven 4th, Arlington 5th. Do you think that those are about the right order they should be?
Oh, you know what? I think we all play different schedules. So it's not like we get a chance to go up against each other. I think that the other district that we're dealing with over on 16 AAA, top to bottom, whether it be Overton, White Station, Whitehaven East, that whole crew, they can all play. So when you see a score that's closer, it's second time around, and you're going to get a different set of pitches at next at bat, as stats the baseball guy would like to say. But so you're going to see some scores change.
Sure.
The differentials should change, and if they don't, that means somebody has done their job. But I Dave, you've known me a long time. Where people put you counts one time
at the end of the year.
You got it.
If you were picking though, and you were looking at the teams that you think could win state titles, where would it be? Who are you picking?
I think that on the private, Briarcrest is kind of heads above the rest. So on that side, but from the public standpoint, AAA, you've got 5 probably that that are going to legitimately have a shot, and AA you could have there's 2 or 3. In single A, I don't really know enough about. I know that BTW is awfully good, and when you get to the small privates, Los Angeles just freakishly more talented than everybody else. So you could. It's very possible that you could have a 5 championship sweep in the state tournament.
Wow.
for Memphis.
That would be amazing. Charlie, we'll talk more about that in the coming weeks. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it, and good luck to you this week.
All right, appreciate that.
That is Charlie Leonard, the head basketball coach at Houston High School, and, of course, you heard all the well-travels, and we're happy to have him, and honored, actually, to have him every week. We take a quick time out. When we come back, talk a little bit about the Grizzlies and that game tomorrow with the Portland Trailblazers, a barometer game per se, as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Want to get your voice heard? Hit us up on the First Bank phone line or First Bank text line.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
This Valentine's Day, show her just how much you love her. Say it with Central Barbecue. Say it with ribs.
What are you doing?
I was thinking we could play on their heartstrings.
Say it with ribs?
Yeah, I think Central Barbecue should do like Valentine's stuff. Like a Be Mine brisket or Cuddle Me coleslaw.
Did you just get these off of Candy Hearts?
Where I get my inspiration is not important.
Why not just do your job and tell people to go to Central Barbecue?
That's what I'm doing, just with a romantic twist.
No twisting. Just sell Central Barbecue.
Hug me jalapeno nachos. Kiss me kielbasa.
Just stop. Just tell them to go to Central Barbecue.
You have no soul.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold? Medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The Can-Am Spring Fever event is here and ready to take you on the ultimate off-road ride and get you some serious savings. Can-Am is built for ripping through trails, crawling through mud, cruising over dunes, getting the job done. Get it done for less. Farmers and ranchers can save up to $1,500 on select 2020 Defender models, or even on select 2019 models, save up to $2,500 during the Spring Fever event. Get yourself a new Can-Am off-road vehicle at a great price. Visit us today, Olive Branch Motorsports, 5656 Goodman Road, or online at obmotorcycleatv.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Noseworthy.
Cruising through our first hour, so tomorrow, big game. No question about it. The Grizzlies and the Portland Trailblazers, at the moment, Grizz have a 2.5 game edge on a Portland team. It'll either be 3 or 2 by the time they meet because, as you mentioned earlier, the Trailblazers will play the New Orleans Pelicans tonight. And that's good because nobody is as good, I don't think, the second night in a back-to-back as they are the first, unless they hold out guys tonight. They're trying to catch the Grizzlies. I can't imagine that they would be holding anybody out this evening in New Orleans. And the other
tomorrow night
aspect, and I thought Zach Kleiman brought this up beautifully, is that you're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. And I can remember there were sort of insinuations by some of the national media that the Grizzlies weren't getting the best punch of everybody because they were resting guys because they thought it would be an easy victory earlier in the year. And then they got fortunate. Luka Doncic didn't play when the Grizzlies played in
Embiid did.
Dallas. Yeah.
He was back.
But the point is, it's no longer going to be that way, especially with this Portland team, because that's the team that's chasing you. That's the team most people expect
you're going to get everybody's
will
best shot.
Catch you. And so now, if you're in the race, you're going to get that team's best stuff. It's not your B game if you're Tiger Woods. It's not your breaking stuff. It's your A game. It's your fastball. And that's what they're going to get tomorrow. And we'll see if they are going to be able to rise to the occasion. My sense is they will. It'll probably be down to 2. They're going to beat New Orleans tonight. And then if you win, you've made a statement and you got 3 games.
We talked last week some about Coach of the Year for Taylor Jenkins here in Memphis. What about Nick Nurse, defending champions and 15 in a row for the Raptors? 15 wins in a row.
I can't remember who we were talking with the other day. It might have been the day that you were out last week. You took a vacation day, Friday. Whoever that was, I asked them who they would vote for NBA Coach of the Year. They said Nick Nurse, and I said, what about Budenholzer? How is this guy not getting respect? He's got the best record in the league, and that sometimes that goes with expectations, but Nurse has done an amazing job considering Marc Gasol didn't play for all this time, and here they are still very much in the fight.
Okay, with tomorrow night's most important game of the year, it's not must win, but is it the most important game of the year?
I think so, because coming into this year, nobody thought you'd be here. Now, is it for real? With all these moves that you made, because they're not making any more moves, with all these moves that you made, are you good enough to make the playoffs? And this is the true barometer game.
What kind of real attendance is fair to hold them to tomorrow night? Real.
Well, we won't get real because they only give the count for the Memphis Tigers games. They don't give the count.
But we have eyes and we know better. What kind of real count should be there tomorrow night?
Well, barring any kind of weather issues.
There's none predicted.
If there's a storm that's coming down, that could change things. But you would have to think there should be 14,000, 15,000 in the place, right?
And Ja Mania and this great year and the importance of this game, a long break. When are we getting to that?
I don't know.
When we talk about Hoop City, and I go to both Hoop City games, and I see a lot of empty seats at both of them, but more percentage of capacity filled at Tigers games than anything approaching. I know the Lakers are going to be full a couple Saturday nights from now, and I know why. It'll be for LeBron James.
Well, and people from all the region will come
on a Saturday night.
You know, and I don't know what the actual ability to accommodate the number of walk-ups, okay? You know, everybody goes, oh, well, you'll have a big walk-up. You'll get 6,000, 7,000 walk-up. It's not physically possible
it never
to
happens.
Get that many. So, you know, the Grizzlies season tickets, I don't know what it is because they haven't told us since the very beginning with Gallup and
if they don't tell you, it means it's not good.
And Dolich, right? If they don't, it's not good.
Even if they have a select press availability for it, they don't even tell them.
They don't give out the number. It's just like they don't give out the scan count. So I'm just saying to you that if their numbers are low, and most of the time the crowds have not been that big, as you've said this year, and I've only been to one game, so I am not a good judge here. But I'm saying to you, it's hard to get big crowds because
if you don't have a base.
If you don't have that ticket base to begin with. And I wouldn't say that in the beginning of the year this would have been a game that you would have pre-sold. So you're going to be dependent on walk-ups, and you can only do so many of those. That's my point. We take the time out. Vincent, sorry we could not get to you. We've got Brent Beard coming your way. You want to call back a little bit later in the show? We'd be glad to chat with you. Also, we've got 4 tickets. We're going to give away 4, not necessarily all together, 2 and 2, not far from each other. But we will do that a little bit later in the program. We've got an hour in the books as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Tiger Hoops fans have something extra to look forward to this coming March. Not only is it tournament time, but it's the opening of the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum.
After Finch's two-pointer, Ronnie Robinson sank the shot that once again brought the two teams into a tie.
Come to the Pink Palace Museum this March and experience 100-plus years of Tiger men's and women's basketball, from their beginnings as the West Tennessee State Normal School to the present.
The Tigers are very much alive.
Don't miss the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum, opening March 7th.
It's not too early to start planning for spring at Family Leisure. New pools are starting at $19.99, spas starting at $21.99, and swim spas now only $99.99. 5-piece patio furniture starts at only $799. Pool chemicals, toys, accessories, and more up to 20% off. Mention this ad, you'll get free delivery and 1 month of chemicals with your spa purchase. Start your spring planning now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Head on over to Frontier Western Store for their famous February sale. This is Frontier's biggest sale of the year, and it is the time to save big on boots and apparel. All men's jeans are now on sale. Ariat denim $10 off. Wrangler and Carhartt pants $5 off. Select styles marked down even more, up to half price. There's huge savings on Carhartt shirts as well. Select clearance shirts and outerwear up to 50% off. Ariat shirts and jackets discounted as well. Hurry in for best selections. Women's t-shirts by Simply Southern, Girly Girl, and Puppy Love as low as $10. Frontier has markdowns in the boot room as well. Hundreds of boots by Double H, Rocky, Durango, and Ariat. Now priced to move to make room for new spring arrivals. Stop by Frontier today and grab your next pair of dress or work boots. It's the famous February sale at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967. Hey guys, Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Treat your special someone to a fantastic dinner at the Butcher Shop Steakhouse. In addition to the full menu, the Butcher Shop is offering their famous Dinner for Two special all weekend long, February 14th, 15th, and 16th. Start the evening with a glass of house wine, champagne, or beer. Share an appetizer of spinach and artichoke dip or Cajun sautéed shrimp. Choose from 6 delicious entrees: 7-ounce filet mignon, 14-ounce New York strip, 14-ounce ribeye, fresh Atlantic salmon, char-grilled chicken breast, or grilled lobster tail. Each entree includes a fresh garden or Caesar salad. baked potato, and hot bread. Each guest enjoys a homemade dessert, New York cheesecake, or chocolate thunder brownie. Your choice of soda, tea, or coffee completes the meal. All for $99.50 plus tax and gratuity per couple. For reservations, call the Butcher Shop at 901-757-4244. Or for more information, visit thebutchershop.com. At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender. Join the Midday Show and Johnny Radio at Top Gun Shooting Range this Thursday from 10 to 3. Top Gun is located at 2770 Whitten Road, right off Summer Avenue. If you haven't been yet, you need to come check this place out. We'll be giving away 2 $50 Gould's gift certificates for your Valentine and a full automatic gun experience, which is getting to shoot 4 of Top Gun's fully automatic guns for free. That's this Thursday at Top Gun Shooting Range. Come shoot with us.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome in, hour number 2 of the program, Wolo and Stats, on this sort of gloomy Tuesday. Dry for the moment, more rain expected, that is for sure. So today we've been talking what a big couple of days we've got coming up. Wednesday, the Grizzlies, a huge barometer game for their chances to be in the playoffs when they host the Portland Trail Blazers. For the Tigers, Thursday in Cincinnati. How healthy will they be? We did learn today you're going to have Malcolm Dandridge. You're going to have Lance Thomas. Don't know if you're going to have Precious Achua. So we'll have to wait and see on all of that. In the meantime, in this slot, each week we talk college football, college basketball with our friend Brent Beard. Speaking of football, were you one of the 3 to 4 million people that watched the XFL on Saturday and Sunday?
I watched a little bit of it. I was watching more hoops than anything else, but I had to turn over, and the kickoffs were interesting. So, I don't have any real criticism of it. I still would enjoy seeing the non-Power 5 in the spring, but until we have that, I think those games will be fine. So, yes, it was an interesting weekend with that, and also SEC and ACC hoops.
Well, since you brought that up and you're in Florida, what is the status right now of Michael White and the Gators?
Well, they're grumbling, to say the least. I mean, look, Florida has been an EKG the whole year. They get 20-something points behind. Georgia come back and are able to win the game, and then basically, I'm not taking anything away from Ole Miss, but they just didn't play well at all on Saturday. I know some of that was Ole Miss, some of that was Florida, and how they can just at times just absolutely disappear and have no passion at all to play. I mean, they're still number 11 in the bracketology, so they're hanging in at this point too. They've got some big games coming up. They should win against A&M, but gosh, guys, the way they play, I think the disappointing thing here is with guys like Blackshear and Nemhart, and that a lot of people thought at the beginning of the year they had Sweet 16, the Final Four talent, but it has not played out that way. The light switch has not come on for this team yet.
He couldn't beg them for it to come on Saturday in Oxford.
No.
Early in the game during timeouts, I watched him closely in their huddle, and he was not connecting. And really, for the rest of the day, Michael White checked out a little bit with them. He just kind of stood there and watched the deficit get larger and larger, and really an easy win for Ole Miss that's not a very good team. But, David, we've talked about it a lot. One of the common denominators there, even at this point in the year, on February 11th, you don't have a lot of cohesion among a lot of teams. There's so much roster upheaval. Blackshear wasn't a part of the Gators last year. I'm not saying that he's all the problem, but there's so many of those teams like that. To compare a roster to last year, I wonder how many starters are among good teams are in there that were there last year. You just don't have the synchronicity that you used to have with upperclassmen.
No, and it's really hurt it, hasn't it? I would agree with that. But to answer your original question, they're not happy with White. Now look, I remember, you guys remember, when Mike White, before Florida hired him, there were several schools who were interested in hiring him. I remember Bama was interested in hiring him before they got Avery Johnson. So it's not like White's forgotten how to coach.
Well, Ole Miss wanted him back.
Your point a minute ago, Brett, was a good one. I know Dave's seen this too. Guys, there are times and there are years where coaches just don't connect with their players and vice versa. And it's hard to say what it is. White has been very stoic. I mean, there's something wrong with that, but he has, and they've thought that things will be going much better by now, but they really haven't been. Now, again, it doesn't mean that they can't still end up in the tournament, probably as a high seed. I mean, they're 45 in the net at this point, but it has been a struggle for a lot of the season for them.
And it has been a step backwards this year in the league. Yeah, you have Kentucky and Auburn and maybe LSU, probably LSU in the elite, but from that point on, from 4 to 9, if you had everybody change uniforms, I don't know anybody would know one from another one.
Look, it is a crapshoot, is it not? There is absolutely no question about that. And I'll be honest with you guys, we cover the ACC too, and we're seeing kind of the same thing there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got obviously your Duke and your Florida State. It's amazing right now to us that Florida State's basketball team's better than its football team. Now, chew on that a minute. So in Louisville is obviously playing well at this point, but I think the other thing with the ACC, they're playing, I believe, 20 games in the conference this year, so that's going to be more losses. So both those conferences, guys, are similar in the fact that, and I hope they have more than they're projected to be, but they're not. Both those conferences are projected to have more than 3, 4, maybe 5 at the most in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly the three teams you mentioned. Those are the three really, really good teams.
And then the steep slide.
And honestly, any one of those three could I think, win a national title. But they are certainly –
especially Louisville and Duke.
They are top. I think Florida State could look – Florida State could have won last night.
Sure could have.
I mean, and we all say that about Florida State. And then Leonard Hamilton is in the Sweet 16.
Every year.
So, But I want to go back to – you know what we were talking about, why there's so much parity, and people talk about one and done, and that's definitely a portion of it. I can't remember which coach on ESPN said the other day, but he said, part of the thing is to be a great product, you got to have stars, and we don't have as many stars as we used to have. But to me, the biggest thing is the transfer portal, because I think it takes away continuity of those that aren't stars, of playing together and getting used to one another.
Get my shot in a year.
Right. And
heaven forbid 2 years.
If the Big Ten deal goes through, this legislation that they are introducing to the NCAA, which would allow a student athlete, one transfer without penalty. You would sit out. And I preface this by saying, because those who've listened to me for years know, I think the transfer graduate rule was the best rule ever put in for a student athlete. Because if you've been there 4 years and you've done everything and you still got a year of eligibility and you don't think you're getting a fair shot, you've earned the right to go. But if you're going to tell me a freshman who got homesick, didn't think he got enough minutes or snaps, is going to give up that early and get a free ticket to go somewhere else, I just think we will continue to see play slippage, skill slippage, teamwork slippage in collegiate athletics. And, I guess to a certain extent, student athletes deserve that freedom. But honestly, there should be at least you got to stay a year before you have the free deal.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Dave, I'm with you. I've always thought the grad transfer rule was a good one. I mean, the good grief, the goal is to graduate, and the guys who do, and especially do it in 3 years. My stories, I think about my time in college. Listen, it took me 3 years to figure out what my major was, much less graduate there. But the converse of what we're talking about here, guys, I think is also interesting. Is when you look at I'm looking at the net standings here. San Diego State, Gonzaga, Baylor, Kansas is 4, Dayton is 5, with Anthony Grant of all people who really struggle in Alabama. And to me, the thing that you're seeing, and I saw this at Baylor. I was able to go to the Baylor-Florida game in the Big 12 SEC shootout and was able to see this. The converse of what we're talking about with the transfer portal, guys, the teams who have been together for a long time seem to have risen to the ranks this year, and I think that's kind of refreshing. And I really saw this in that Baylor team. That there was a veteran team, had a couple of basketball guys sitting next to me in the press row, and they said, look, this Baylor team could be a Final Four team, and going back to what Brent said a few minutes ago, this Florida State team could be a Final Four team. Now, listen here, my goal in life is when I'm in my 70s, is for my stomach to be as flat as Leonard Hamilton and to look that good in my 70s and be able to make those kind of decisions as a coach. How about that?
And he's done it at a lot of different places for a really long time at a high level. When you mentioned FSU, the idea of FSU basketball for a while now. Well, since Jimbo Fisher won a national championship, it's really had predominance over the football program. Visiting with our friend Brent Beard on college sports. Brent, all right, the NFL, they seem determined to do the 17-game schedule. When does college football take the bait and we just got to add one more game?
Well, that's a great question. I think if we had not had a playoff, they would have probably done it even before now. It is a reality. I think they will add listen, I've seen some playoff proposals that have talked about even doing the reverse, which is taking a game away and going to 8 at that point, which I thought was interesting. But that would keep that proposal also would keep the conference championship games. I don't know if they will do it now, Brett. I think we'll see. I think we'll see the expansion first before that happens. But look, I don't rule anything out in terms of revenue streams for these colleges as far as what they want to do.
Because they got to have the money. Because you look at these SEC recruiting only budgets. Georgia and Alabama spending almost $3 million each on just recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Now, one thing is going to help the SEC, obviously, is this CBS deal with television is going to ESPN likely, and instead of getting $55 million, I mean that may guys. It's not just going to just double; it may quadruple, or my stars, it may be 10 times what it is now. So they will certainly have their money one way or another. I think alcohol sales is another way. I'm guessing, guys, but in the next 2 or 3 years, basically everybody in the conference will be selling it at that point. But Brett's right. I mean, it just is what's going to be the next revenue stream, and these ADs are looking at it every year.
That TV deal going from $55 million for just one package.
Yes.
The prime time or it was really the 2:30 slot on CBS,
right.
3:30 Eastern, and you had the ability. I guess there would be a couple of times where they would put them in prime time and have 2 games that day. That going to, I think most people think it's going to be about $250, so it's almost 5 times the amount for the one package.
And we don't know that 2:30 is going to be sacrosanct going forward. It could, the game could be in prime time with a lesser game maybe at 11 or at 1. I mean, and you see the NFL and what they did announced yesterday with their flex scheduling for Monday night. They're not going to release the full 2020 schedule until after the draft. They can do that, but college schedules are made a little further out in advance. Brent, I think one of these days, it may be past all of us, but I think one of these days you're going to have a prime time Friday night game in the SEC.
You know what? That's a great point. Now, your point's also good in that there maybe have to be some retirements where that happens, Brett.
It will.
In some of these administrations, but look, the money's going to be too good.
Exactly.
And frankly, now the SEC is also been. Well, let me pose it like this. Will the SEC go for that quicker than they will to beef up their Thursday night schedule?
The NFL has scared everybody off of Thursday. That's their night now.
It did. But when you're talking about Friday night, you could play, and then you're going back on Saturday, and it's not a work day. So, and Brett, the truth of the matter is, that may not be that far away.
May not be.
I don't know the value of Friday night. It's a
more inventory.
Public relations nightmare because you're taking on high school football.
They'll crush it,
especially in the South. And I agree with that. And there would be now it would have to be. I mean, would they do say 3 of them instead of something on every Friday night, just to see how it would go? But there would be some pushback on Friday night. There's no question about that.
I'm curious.
We're still seeing it growing.
How does Friday night because there are Friday night games. Memphis has played Friday night games in the American.
Right.
The MAC gets Friday night games. The Sun Belt gets Friday night games.
Pac-12.
How do those games in their own leagues compare with a Saturday night? And I just don't believe they do that well. We have established Saturday all day long as college football day. Friday is date night. Friday is high school game. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I really don't know, but I can't imagine within their own league that the Friday night games do the same numbers as the Saturday night games.
And what it would do,
I don't think they do. But one thing we're seeing, Dave, is the ACC starting to do more of it now.
Yeah.
And we didn't think that would happen. I mean, some people may not consider that as deep south as the SEC, but
pretty deep.
The prevalence of those games is growing to a degree too. I think your point with that would be is if you're trying to, let's say you're in Arkansas and you've got a new coach in Sam Pittman, and you want to get your people interested, is that something you would do once every 3 or 4 years, just to drive up, hopefully, the popularity of your product?
Opening night this year,
thing, maybe
against Nevada.
But as far as, but I mean, I see your point, Dave. As far as the ratings, I think your Saturday would beat your Friday unless you just got an unusual situation and a really good game.
And what it would do in that particular market, since you brought up Arkansas, I didn't. Since you did, let's say this year, and it's not going to happen, but this year they moved opening night against Nevada to that Friday night, September 4th. Well, what it would probably do, and I don't even know who Fayetteville High School plays, and they play quite literally about a mile and a half from the 50-yard line from Razorback Stadium. What they would probably have to do, they would probably have to move to Thursday night, their junior high game, or this. And Dave, you're used to this. Larger cities, there's a lot of Friday afternoon high school football.
When I was a kid, we played a lot of Friday afternoon games.
Washington, D.C., man, from 2 o'clock on in Washington, D.C., you can catch a pretty fair high school football game.
The cool thing about that for my school is we got off afternoon. So you went and ate lunch, and then you went
head to the ballpark.
And you head to the ballpark, and you were done for
the day.
What's
happening here in Jacksonville, guys, and look, this is not for the reason we want, but we've got some games that two things have happened. Because of some of the violence at the high school games, they have moved some of these games from a 7 o'clock start to a 6 o'clock start, and they have also moved some of these games, believe it or not, to high school games now, to Saturday morning at 10 o'clock.
Sure, there's a lot of Saturday morning high school football in larger cities.
So yes, but Brett's point's a good one too. That if you got, and we're not saying Arkansas is going to do this. We're just using them as an example. Right. Is if say Arkansas agrees to do something like that, how does the periphery around them, the high school games, etc., be able to react to that? And that's a really good point. And again, see if you're talking about particularly doing it on maybe opening night or something like that, you could do it on a Friday night, and you may have more teams play on Thursday night because that's going to be Labor Day weekend, and they've got Monday off too.
Well, back to the original premise here, that new deal that ESPN is going to sign with the SEC, it has to be more than just the one game,
right?
Because you couldn't, if let's just say it goes to $250 million, it's 5 times what you were getting. You couldn't get that back on just the one game. You'd have to be charging Super Bowl prices, $8 million a spot.
You can't get it.
You can't get that. So that has to be maybe including a Friday game and the Saturday afternoon game and a Saturday primetime game. And who else knows what would be included in that? But it'd have to be more inventory than the one game.
And on the TV front, there's some indications that opening night for Ole Miss against Baylor this year will be on Sunday night in primetime on ABC, ESPN, with Dave Aranda against Lane Kiffin as the only game that Sunday night.
Well, no NFL then.
No NFL.
To me, that's brilliant because people got the next day off and they can travel back without any problem. And man, if you want to showcase what you've got and to get a little bit of momentum, I think that's a great idea. And I've always thought, guys, on that Sunday night of Labor Day weekend, more schools should be able to play then. Dave, I think some of these non-Power Fives should play that. Should play then and kind of get a start, and people getting a look at what they've got. I think that night's going to be used more and more over the next few years.
He is Brent Beard. He's down in Jacksonville. He talks SEC, ACC, college sports all year round with us. We appreciate it,
Thank
too.
You, Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
Always a pleasure, guys. Take care.
Brent Beard, brought to you in part, like this whole hour. That would be Genesis of Olive Branch. Genesis, the #1 luxury car that has taken over the world. I say that because I haven't driven every car. I've never driven a Lamborghini. I got to tell you, I've never.
You ever driven a Rolls?
Driven a Rolls.
Ever ridden in a Rolls?
No. The best I've ever driven in was a Bentley, thanks to our late, great friend, Lorenzen Wright. When I did his show on old WMC 79, he said one day to me, he goes, "Have you ever been in a Bentley?" I said, "No." He said, "You want to ride around?" I said, "Yes." So I got to do that with the great Lorenzen Wright. That's about the best car I've ever driven in, but that was an old car. We're talking that was 20 years ago. There's nothing like now's technology, and the best technology is in Genesis. You can read all the car manufacturers. They're raving about what they've got in this car, which, by the way, gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Now let me brag on the people who sell it, because not everybody that is part of the Hyundai group gets to sell Genesis, but they do in Olive Branch because they're really good at what they do. They take care of their clients. And it's hard to get some of these Genesis cars. There's more and more coming into the country. But the new SUV, which, by the way, you can order, it's not here yet. They're going to get them, though, and you got to go see what it's all about. Just get on Lamar into Mississippi, first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and you'll see the way car business should be done at Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a time out when we come back. Our friend from Fox, that would be Tim Brando. He's next on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Peter Edmiston and CJ Hurts. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7 FM.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Is imitation the sincerest form of flattery? Not when it comes to your car audio. Stereo One is the leader in car audio, remote start, security, and more for the past 30 years. Stereo One is proud to announce the grand opening of their new location, 1983 Covington Pike, across from the Honda dealership. To celebrate their new location, Stereo One has marked down their entire inventory. Remote start systems at $129 with free installation. Subwoofer base packages start at just $199. Window tint starting at $129. The entire inventory of radios and touchscreens with features like Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and backup cameras are marked to go. Check out Stereo One before you buy online. Their knowledge, friendly sales staff, and pro installation team will take care of you. Visit the Stereo One new location today, 1983 Covington Pike across from Honda, or visit their mega store at Mendenhall and Winchester. Make sure you go to the originators and not the imitators. Stereo One is still the one for your auto accessories.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration architectural shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. on Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshyn and Brett Norsworthy.
Halfway through our program, actually,
more than half. We're out early today. Ole Miss Hoops an hour.
Yeah.
Did you see my smile come up on the face when I saw Drew type in and on our screen, Timmy B?
Timmy B. We know as Timmy B. The world knows him as Tim Brando, and we're going to talk with him momentarily. I do want to let everybody know about 50. We are going to give away 4 tickets to the Portland Grizzlies game tomorrow and some Germantown / Collierville Commissary Barbecue.
Some good cue.
In the meantime, Tim Brando joins us now. I thought it was really nice, Tim, because I don't see too many guys, voices, stick up for their networks. And you wrote the nicest tweet about Fox's Super Bowl coverage, and I thought that was really refreshing. I appreciated that.
You know, on occasion, Mr. Woloshyn, I do try to be nice to all of my colleagues.
You
I
always
really do.
Tim. Tim, you
I
always
always do.
You've always helped everybody. And then last night, I was scrolling through the old Twitter internet and found the U.S. Reed shot at the buzzer down in Austin, and your tweet that you were sitting by Dale Brown because the winner would play LSU the next week.
They didn't have tweets back then.
No, it didn't have Twitter back then, but they had the video from it.
Yeah, and I actually was sitting with Dale Brown and the late Rick Huckabee, who was on his staff. They had just played and beaten Lamar in the other regional semifinal. That was actually the second-round game. The winners would go on to New Orleans to play the Sweet 16, and I was, I think that would have been it. That was 81, which was my first year to go to a Final Four in Philadelphia following LSU, and it would be the first of a run of Final Four games, David Brett, that goes back with only 2 misses since. I've only missed Kemper Arena with Danny and the Miracles and the 96 Final Four with Kentucky winning over Syracuse. Those are the only 2 Final Fours that I have missed since 81. And I'll never forget both Dale Brown and Rick Huckabee were sandwiched in. I got in between them. So I'm getting it, basically a scouting report between the two. Dale had really sort of taken me on as a surrogate son, I think, a surrogate father, and to me, and he would share things with me, and they did not want to play Louisville. Jerry Eves was a nightmare matchup for LSU. They had played them in the 1980 Elite Eight in Houston the year before, and fell behind early, came back, made it a close game, and then got their doors blown off in the second half. And Louisville went on to win the national championship that year, you may recall. And Eves was the problem. So they didn't want any part of Louisville again. So when U.S. Reed hit that shot, as excited as Eddie Sutton was, the LSU coaching staff was every bit as excited because they did not want to play Louisville again in back-to-back years. So that's a great that immediately when I saw that, Brett, that's what I thought of.
Yep.
And it was also the very beginning. People forget about this. This was the very beginning of the electronic cut-in in the NCAA tournament. People think ESPN created it. We really didn't. I was part of it when we had the NCAAs in the late 80s. John Saunders and I would be in the studio, and we would take people from one game to the other. And we had our fair share of back-to-back buzzer-beater moments in those days. But that year, NBC was doing it, and I'll never forget, Bryant Gumbel was the host, and he took people away from this game or that game. Kansas State had a buzzer-beater to win against, I want to say it was Kansas State beat DePaul. DePaul lost. Mark Aguirre's team lost at the buzzer
to St. Joe.
Ralph Miller's Oregon State team was number 1 in the country. They lost at the buzzer. And then U.S. Reed was like the cherry on top for Arkansas to beat Louisville at the buzzer. This all happened within about a 10-minute span.
Yep, I remember that.
On NBC that year.
And
I was watching it all, sitting right behind where we were sitting was literally just above the broadcast position for Marv Albert and Bucky Waters.
Yeah, just an amazing year. You brought up Dale Brown and how he became sort of a surrogate dad to you. I think he, based on what I saw in that ESPN documentary with him and Shaq, I think he did that a bunch to people that he felt were special.
Oh, he sure did.
Well, Dale Brown has always, to me, have been just a captivating kind of personality, interesting. You want to learn more, but he recognized certain people that he just wanted to sort of be part of. It seems.
Yeah, he did, and championed me, that's for sure. And I'm in the midst now, along with a number of other people, fighting not fighting, but just trying. I've always had a real problem with the political bureaucracies within the state of Louisiana, my home state. And they got a statue of Shaq out front. The building is named after Pete Maravich, and yet there would have been no Shaq without Dale. And Pete never won an NCAA tournament game. Hell, he never competed in an NCAA tournament game. Dale took him to 13 in his career. 10 of those was in a row, 2 Final Fours, an Elite Eight, and that floor needs to be named after him. That court should be named Dale Brown Court. And I think we've made some inroads. I've gone away from social media and blasting away, and I recently met with their board about a month or so ago. There's going to be another board meeting, I think, coming up in early March. Dale's 85, and this needs to happen while he's still with us. He's in good shape. He's every bit as lucid as ever, but that floor needs to be named after him. I think we're on our way to getting that accomplished in Louisiana.
You look at the bracketologists out there today, and there are a lot of them out there, and we have a lot of them on. Do you think the Big Ten, do you think it's worthy of 9 or double-digit bids?
Well, I'm doing a lot of Big Ten games. We'll give that caveat, in the interest of full disclosure. I'm also doing a lot of Big East. I had Seton Hall and Villanova last week. I'll have Georgetown and Butler this week, and then a couple of Saturdays from now, I'm going to have Marquette and Seton Hall and Milwaukee, and all those teams are really good teams, Brett. I mean, DePaul has only won 1 game in their league, and they went to Iowa and won, and they beat Texas Tech in a game Raftery and I had back in December. They're good. They are good, but they're playing in hard luck in their league. But they're no easy out. There's no easy out in the Big East. Short of Northwestern in the Big Ten, there's no easy out there. I mean, when you watch what Pat Chambers has done at Penn State, what Brad Underwood is doing at Illinois, to go along with, think about it. Michigan and Ohio State have been ranked as high as 4 and 2 in the country. And right now, if you're talking about bubble teams in the Big Ten, it's those 2. It's just amazing how good the league is. I think there's a chance, certainly 8, maybe 9. And I think the Big East has a chance to get probably 7 in. That's how good that league is this year. Now, I say that, and I've seen a lot of games in that conference, but I think you guys know I'm watching games in every league, too. Sure. I keep up with the rest of the country, and there are some other really good conferences, but the ACC is noticeably down. I'm doing a couple of little games for them for their regional sports networks because my buddies at Raycom had a few left after the ACC network was formed, and I'm speaking to you now in Pittsburgh. I'm going to see Pitt, which is, I think, one of those teams in that that middle of the pack that has a chance to emerge along with Syracuse. Those 2 are probably your best bets to get a 4th team out of the ACC. But with the ACC down, the Pac-12 down, your league where Memphis is playing, I don't know that it's vintage right now.
No, it's
Every year is
three
cyclical.
teams, probably worthy of three teams.
Yeah, I mean, college basketball is cyclical, and I think there's any one of a number of 40 teams, 40, that probably feel like they could get to the Final Four.
That's
and I don't
amazing.
think they would be wrong in assuming that.
No,
out of those 40, well, I think we're looking at maybe 15 that could possibly win the thing.
That is exactly what I said a few days ago. I looked at the top 16, and I said, and the only one I really haven't seen much is San Diego State. I said, I think 15 of these teams could win the national title.
Yeah.
So we're
San
out
Diego State's really good.
They're
really good.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here because you work for both of these leagues, but at the top, which is the better league, the Big Ten or the Big East? Because the Big East is the biggest surprise, I think, for the quality at the top.
The only reason the Big Ten is getting more is because there are more.
Yeah.
Okay? They just have more teams in the league, and therefore there's more opportunities for quad 1 or quad 2 victories. So it's a matter of mathematics. The Big Ten is going to look better and get more bids because they have more. But in terms of quality to go with quantity, it's the Big East.
Wow.
I think the best team in the country right now is Seton Hall.
And what are they?
They've got all the ingredients.
I think they're 10 in the rankings, right?
Right. I think they're the best team. I think they're playing the best in the country, and they have the most upside to go the distance. Okay, they got 4 guys 6'10" or better. They have a Euro face-up big in Sandro Mamukalashvili. They have a post-up back to the basket 7'2" stud. Okay. That can also get the job done for them. And then they have backups that are 6'10" and 6'11". Romero Miller is 7'2", and he's really good. And by the way, he can switch on screens and still guard smaller people. They've got good footwork, these bigs. And then you add to that 2 really outstanding guards. Quincy McKnight is the Robin to Miles Powell's Batman. Miles Powell is not a selfish player. He is a great team superstar. He doesn't chase points, but he can get points in bundles for you. And I think, as you know, when the game slows down, you get in the NCAA tournament, a lot of times you need that guy that you can turn to when your offense has gone stagnant and you just need a bucket badly. Seton Hall's got answers there.
How is Kevin Willard getting all these big guys like that 7'2" stud?
Well, he's done it from an international standpoint in a lot of ways. And I think when, it's funny, he's in New Jersey, and all the kids in New York want to play in New Jersey, and all the kids in Jersey want to play in New York.
They want to get out of town.
Funny.
Yeah.
They want to get out of town, but they don't want to get that far out of town, So it's a combination of both, really. Now, look, they still struggled with Villanova. Villanova lost 3 in a row after getting to number 10, and Butler, beat them with Kamar Baldwin at the buzzer last week. That's a legitimate team. Marquette with Marcus Howard. The Big East teams all have guys that can go get you a bucket when the rest of the offense is bogged down. And that's what's really missing in college basketball today is give me those 1 or 2 guys that can get you baskets when everyone else can't buy one.
It's Memphis' problem. You're right on the money.
Yeah. And Dave, the reason for that is the game's in trouble. The game is in trouble because, A, it's not being governed properly. B, in addition to the issues with one and dones, which when that goes away, and I do believe it will go away, fewer of the really great players are going to be coming to college at all, even for the 1 year. And now you've got the G League to deal with. For some of the kids in America today, if you say, well, they're only going to pay them somewhere between $35,000 and $90,000. You know what? For some kids that don't want to go to school, that's enough. That's a good life. They're not coming to college. So all these issues need to be addressed. Plus, the NCAA is running really, really late. I mean, woefully late on the name, image, and likeness issue. And this has become now an embarrassment and college basketball is going to continue to suffer. Now, I think the game is great. When I'm out there, I still love it. I champion it. I'll promote the hell out of it. But there's no getting around the many issues that are not being dealt with realistically by these guys in the clouds in Indianapolis. They just don't get it. They put a task force together with, among others, Gene Smith, the athletic director at Ohio State, Val Ackerman, the commissioner at the Big East, which, by the way, is one of the best commissioners in all of intercollegiate athletics. Val Ackerman could solve a lot of our problems in college basketball if she had the power to do it. Her understanding of the NBA infrastructure and the WNBA, of course, where she spent time, but even the NBA and the people that govern FIFA, USA basketball, all that. She could be of great help. They put together a recommendation, this task force, for name, image, and likeness. And by the time the NCAA lawyers got a hold of it and put out a release, none of what they had in mind was actually out there for public consumption. It's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing to me.
He's Tim Brando. You bring up so many good points. We don't have the time, but I'm not sure about the G League. When you take an 18-year-old kid, I don't care if he's making $35,000 a year, you put him on a bus in empty gyms, and he's got to play and compete against guys who are 28 or 29, and they'll kill you
in Peoria
to get to the league.
No, I'm not saying it's – no, listen, I'm not saying it's a great option. I'm not recommending it.
But it's an option.
I'm saying its mere existence is a problem. It's a problem that the CBA never offered up. The competition for players is already pretty intense for college basketball. And what's the overriding critique from those that don't like college basketball, that want to continue to shove the NBA down our throats collectively all the time, when we know college basketball in its regular season is a hell of a lot better watch and more enjoyable because of effort, if nothing else, over the NBA? They all say the same thing. Where are the star players? Where are they?
That is valid.
I mean, and what I'm saying is the G League is now a competitor to the college game. And the NCAA needs to understand this. They need to come to grips with this, because not everyone wants to go to school. And some of these kids that are coming out that can ball, if you said to them, hey, man, if you have a good year, you could go back and forth between Stockton, California, and the Sacramento club. And they're like, okay, well, how much can I make? Well, you might make somewhere between 90 and 120. Hell, I'm in. That's what these kids are saying.
That's true.
My point.
That's true.
Yeah.
Tim Brando, as always, we appreciate it. We'll do it again soon.
You got it, fellas. Always a pleasure being with you. I'm sorry it took so long for us to catch up.
No worries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Tim Brando from Fox Sports. All right. We promised we were going to give away 4 tickets.
We promised.
Now, they're not together, but we want to make this a big package. 4 tickets and a 6-pack of Germantown/Collierville Commissary barbecue. If you can answer this question.
Portland Trailblazers in town tomorrow night against the Memphis Grizzlies. Who was the head coach of the Trailblazers the last time, the only time, they won an NBA title?
Who was the coach back?
Who was the head coach?
Back then? I know that answer.
360-8255.
I know that answer. We'll come to you guys in just a minute with just that question. In the meantime, I'll let you know this portion of the show is brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Group. They're bigger. They joined forces with Britt Linder and Peterson Insurance, and now they've got truly an empire. If you think about all the combined experiences when you go back with Matt and with Brett, we're talking about 300 years of combined insurance experience. This get-together of these two companies gives you access to a multitude of A-rated carriers, and that's determined by AM Best. We're talking about a group that specializes in home, auto, umbrella, and small to mid-size commercial accounts. That means personal and commercial all at once. And they're all about service first. They treat your family like it's their family. If you would like a sit down, because they evaluate one-on-one, whether it's personal or whether it's business, please remember these two numbers, 901-757-2315, or if you're a Tiger fan, 386-GRR. That's 386-4777. They are really the place, the go-to people that you need to feel secure, to be protected. It's the Eflin Insurance Group. Back in a second, we'll get the answer from one of you as you listen to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches, 6482 Poplar Avenue just east of International Paper, 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase, and 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Hey, fellas, Valentine's Day is creeping up on you. It's February the 14th. Have you even thought about what you want to get for your lady so she'll know how special she is? I'm Bill Russell, owner of Russell Brothers Jewelers, and this is going to be my 51st Valentine's Day, helping Memphis guys say I love you to their girls. At Russell Brothers Jewelers, the possibilities are endless. Rings or earrings, pendants or bracelets, we can help you find just the right piece. A piece that will make her eyes sparkle, will make her heart beat faster, and beautiful jewelry will always last a lot longer than flowers or candy. Gold or silver, diamonds or other exquisite jewels, let us show you how our quality and beauty, our value and service combine to make your Valentine shopping an enjoyable experience. How do you keep your Valentine happy? It's so easy. With a piece of magnificent jewelry from Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
So we're going to give away a 6-pack of Germantown / Collierville Commissary. And it's so easy to go to the Collierville Commissary. That's the new one. Triple the size of the old one, still the same food, but a drive-through. And if you want to go in, there's a lot of space with a lot of TVs. Great place to watch sporting events.
Turning 1 year old on February 17th at the Collierville location.
Really?
And listen to this birthday special. Purchase a regular entree, you get a second of equal or lesser value at half price. Plus, they'll throw in a free serving of banana pudding.
No.
Dine in, drive through, carry out.
Really? The banana pudding thrown in?
Next Monday's 1 year at Collierville.
We need to go on Monday just to.
We sure do. Let's do that.
We do it late if you go after the Penny Hardaway.
I'll go with the commissary anytime.
TV show. Okay.
If it's not between 3 and 6, you can count on me.
It's not between 3 and 6 because I got to be right here with
if
you.
Nothing else to see Walker.
We can do it about 1 o'clock. Yeah, let's go say congratulations to Walker.
Happy
on
1
Monday.
year.
That'll be great. That'll be absolutely perfect. In the meantime, we're going to give somebody a 6-pack to go with 4 tickets. Now I got to tell you, 2 tickets are in one section, 2 are in the other. I don't think they're that far from one another, but they're not together. Just
y'all got to sort it out.
We want to make this a
y'all
big
got to
thing
sort it
for
out
somebody. Yeah.
And it's easy.
So the question is easy. Who was the coach when the Portland Trail Blazers, and I'll even give you this big hint, our good friend Lionel Hollins was on that team. A prominent figure. Who was their brilliant, and I think brilliant coach? Bobby, you're up first. Do you know the answer?
Hey, Bobby.
I can't. There we
Hey,
go.
Dan, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, you got to be you better get at the commissary early on Monday. There's going to be a line for that.
Oh, I bet.
We're showing up with a birthday cake. We'll break line that way, Bobby.
We're smart.
There you go. Hey, I believe they call him Dr. Jack Ramsey.
That is it.
He is the doctor. Bobby, very good. That was easy, wasn't it?
That's too easy, man.
You win. Where did he what job did he have in the NBA right before Portland as head coach?
76ers.
I thought he was in Buffalo.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was the 76ers.
I think he was
Maybe
in both
76ers
those.
was afterwards.
I think he was with Philadelphia afterwards.
I think he was with both those teams.
But those Buffalo Braves teams with Bob McAdoo, Ernie D., Randy Smith, Adrian Dantley.
Ernie D., I loved him in that uniform.
Did Moses Malone have a cup of coffee with the Braves? Maybe like 4 games.
You know
a
what?
cup of coffee.
I do think he did.
Yeah.
I think you're right about
Bobby,
that.
you're a winner. Way to go.
Bobby, you're going to
Ernie D had a great game against Memphis in that Final Four run.
Oh, he did.
Tiger beat him, but he had a great game.
Full court, length of the court behind the back pass, Ernie D. in that game. He was a showman.
He was.
With Bad News Barnes and Kevin Stackel.
He was not quite, but very much like Pistol Pete, who's already been mentioned on this show.
He sure was.
Today. All right, Bobby, who you taking? You got 4 tickets.
My girlfriend and I have to find 2 others, but that won't be hard.
That's a smart place to start.
Excellent.
Way to go,
You're
Bobby.
going to watch a big game tomorrow. It's on us and Walker Taylor over at the Germantown Commissary, and you hold on, and Drew will get to you.
Now, I did not remember this. I brought this up at Basketball Ref. That Trailblazers team, and we know why they didn't, because Bill Walton, they were at 50 wins pretty fast into that next year, and then he got hurt and really never recovered to that superstar status. Man, they were young. Bobby Gross was in his second year. Lionel Hollins in his second year. Walton was in his third year. Where is Mo Cheeks? I mean, that was a really young team in 77. Maurice Lucas in his third year. Johnny D was a rookie that year. Johnny Davis.
It's hard. They only got one. It's hard to believe it.
Mo Cheeks was with the Sixers. He wasn't with the Trailblazers at that time. But Dr. Jack, he was a college coach of renown too, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
St. Joe.
I'll let
I'm
you know
looking
on the
now.
other side. I can't think of it. I don't think it was.
Boy, Tim Brando brought up a good day in NCAA tournament history. You know, Mike DeCourcy says that day of that rat-a-tat-tat of Bryant Gumbel back in NBC Studios, capped off by U.S. Reed, he says that's the day that launched the tournaments. We know it. Magic and Bird get all the credit from 2 years before it.
I remember the day we were in Kansas City that Christian Laettner did the Duke Kentucky thing, and honest to goodness, weren't there like 3 or 4 great escapes that day? Great games. That was another one of those magical days. I do remember.
The U.S. Reed shot was something.
We take a timeout. When we come back, we will be joined by our friend Bo Marchant.
St. Joe for Dr.
St. Joe, you were right. Bo Marchant is next.
Me and the caller both were right. Philadelphia and Buffalo.
On Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hey, it's Flo with a super weird word, nightgown. If you ask me, it sounds less like clothes you wear to bed and more like things you say to your clothes. Goodnight capri pants, sleep tight sweaters, nightgown. We've got a big day tomorrow. Now a weird word I just made up, flotection. It sounds like great protection for your new home through me and Progressive, and that's because it is. I said goodnight capri pants, go to sleep.
Save an average of 17% on car insurance when you bundle home and auto through Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
I'm here with Robert Cox, kitchen manager of the Rendezvous Restaurant. Tell us about those great ribs at the Rendezvous.
Rendezvous stands alone in a unique barbecue style, only found in Memphis, Tennessee. We don't smoke our ribs, we char broil them. The guys cooking our ribs have been doing it for 30 years. Mr. Charlie Virgos taught the guys the technique himself, and still to this day, they teach newcomers that come in the door. After our ribs come out the pit, we pre-cut every order, so you easily can tear them apart. We baste our ribs on a plate and sprinkle our seasoning all over them.
So Robert, are ribs what everyone comes to the Rendezvous for?
The beef brisket is now our second best seller behind the ribs. We also have lamb riblets, half chicken, pork shoulder, chopped chicken, cheese and sausage plate. Nachos are fantastic. We also carry a Greek salad. The list goes on.
Robert, where can we find out more about all of these great options?
Our restaurant menu is online at hogsfly.com, and recently we just added our catering menu online.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis, in the alley since 1948.
Join the Midday Show and Johnny Radio at Top Gun Shooting Range this Thursday from 10 to 3. Top Gun is located at 2770 Whitten Road, right off Summer Avenue. If you haven't been yet, you need to come check this place out. We'll be giving away 2 $50 Gould's gift certificates for your Valentine and a full automatic gun experience, which is getting to shoot 4 of Top Gun's fully automatic guns for free. That's this Thursday at Top Gun Shooting Range. Come shoot with us.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Final half hour of today's show. We're out at 5:25, and then at 5:30, David Kellum, Coach Mark Dukes, courtside at the Pavilion for the Rebels and Mississippi State. Yes, Egg Bowl on the hardwood tonight in Oxford between two teams that need a win. State needs a win. Ole Miss always trying to catch back up in the SEC race for them. Looked up Dr. Jack Ramsey. He had a doctorate. That's how he got the title. And the caller was right. He was St. Joe, then Philly, then Buffalo, and then Portland. No, Buffalo and then Philly. So the caller was right. This hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales. Very high standards down on Goodman Road at 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience, and it is that. It is laid back, no hassle, no pressure, very kind, courteous employees. They care about your time. They want you to have the ultimate car experience. They know we're living in a world today that time matters, and they'll have you in and out in about 45 minutes. Test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in your new car. You could literally do it during your lunch hour. Unbelievable that you can do that, or right after work any day. Every make, every model on the lot at DeSoto Auto Sales. All the cars test-driven, all checked out head to toe, and you will love the experience you have. Check it out online and see all the great referrals from many, many pleased customers at DeSotoAutoSales.com. 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience on Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We always check in with our friend from collegetopro.com. In this time slot, Bo Marchant joins us, a little abbreviated edition today. Bo.
Hey, Bo.
Did you watch XFL football? And if you did you like some of the innovations, the kickoff, or they didn't do the 3-point conversion, but that's in there. Everybody except, I think, the offensive line and maybe even the center has the receivers in their helmet to hear from the coach. A lot of different innovation. Did you like it or not?
You know what? I saw none of it. And again, it's not that I'm staying away from it. This particular weekend, I was out of town, but again, not that I'll turn it off if I see it, but again, I'm in draft mode, and like I said, this is the busy time for me. So basically, I'm just draft.
Interesting, because 4 million people at its peak watched the XFL.
Bo, it shows once again that football, just people out there in pads and logos and running around hitting each other, that these alternative leagues are like the old late-night TV test pattern. Heck, we will watch it. We will give it a chance.
We'll give it a chance. I'm going to refer to Drew just because the horror stories Drew had when the AFL bailed and he was left without some paychecks. You know, their first initial AFFL ratings were somewhat similar, and then the rules really came off. So again, I wanted to succeed. But again, for me, I'm in draft mode. I'm done watching football games. I've been watching football every weekend. I've been basically every Saturday and Sunday since August. I've been at a football field watching a football game. So this is my time to excel and just focus on the draft. But I'm sure I will see it eventually. It's just a matter of time, and maybe I'll get hooked. And but I do like some of the the things that they've kind of initiated and ideas kind of outside the capsule of what we see in the National Football League. But again, it allows these guys an opportunity to get to that next level, and I'm always for that.
I do think there's a difference between the Alliance of American Football, that AAF, and this league, and that is money. I think they've got the money, and they've really got much better television deals with major networks because they're on with ABC/ESPN and in really good time slots, and they're on with Fox. So I do think this has a chance to make it. But there is some news over the last 24 hours, and that is that the Chargers said officially goodbye to Rivers, and now Phillips free to go wherever he wants to. My question for you is,
who wants him?
Who will he still be at? What is he? 38? Is he still good enough to be an effective quarterback somewhere?
Yeah, you know what? I think that's what we're going to find out. The true test of how good these guys are going to come in the coming months when these contracts start to roll out. And if someone believes anything, if they believe Rivers has a couple more years left, which I think he does. I mean, I know he struggled, but I still would put him in some better, spots than some of the quarterbacks we currently see under center. But, Miami's a hot name just in terms of, getting a new guy in there if they draft a young guy and letting that simmer. Rivers came out and said that, he wants 2 years max, and that's if he lasts this year. I think Breeze and Brady they've spoiled us on the idea that everyone can play until you're 40. Eli, you might even say Eli maybe would have been best to cut his career off a year or two ago. Even Roethlisberger, in the game and a half that he played this season, he wasn't effective at all. The Steelers had 0 points offensively with him as the starting quarterback, I believe. So there's a lot of question marks now. I think we get a little hung up, but at the end of the day, I look like Rivers has something left. Obviously not his best football ahead of him, but if you're looking for that Band-Aid until you get the young guy up and rolling, I think he would be a perfect hit for, a franchise kind of looking for a leader and then somebody, that a young quarterback can kind of copy and be molded from. Because, Philip Rivers is legit. So, we've never heard anything negative about, what he's like in the locker room in terms of being a team guy.
Yeah.
Fine
person,
so
fine
he's that
family
guy.
man. In a big family, man, he's got kids ranging in age, from 2 to about 20, it feels like. And he was legendary in San Diego and with the years in Los Angeles, but largely as the Chargers. Did he eclipse, question for both of y'all, for all y'all, and I truly, I don't have an opinion. Y'all tell me, is he number one Charger quarterback of all time, or is it Dan Fouts?
Well, to me, it's Dan Fouts.
agree.
Dan Fouts was doing this when this was a run-heavy league, kind of goes back to the Marino days. These guys were putting up those cuckoo numbers that these guys put up,
Dan Marino was going to championship games, too.
Dan Fouts.
Dan Fouts was.
Yeah.
All right, Drew,
So
for a younger perspective.
To me, Fouts has to be, for me personally.
For me personally, it'd be Philip Rivers, since that's only one of the two that I've seen. But when y'all said it, especially Bo just talked about he was doing it in a run-happy league, does being different make you better, though?
Yeah, because Rivers is number one statistically. He's got all the touchdowns in the passing.
Well, he's
yardage
eighth in the history of the game, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Fouts too, because he had to stand in there when you could still legally kill the quarterback.
Yeah, the defensive backs. You could abuse a receiver. This defense. Everything is aided to the offense, and the offense being allowed to do what they do. Back then, he was in the AFC West playing against Lester Hayes and those guys. Those guys were going to beat the receivers silly. So again, real quick story. When I was down at the Combine or down at the Senior Bowl, I don't know if I shared this with you guys. We were out having Dan Marino walked in, and he walks in, subtle things, and don't make too much of a big deal of it. And I looked at him, he's sitting right next to me. I said, Dan, listen. I go, that 5,048 second year. I go, that's the bee's knees. I go, that was before its time, and he loved it. He goes, I'm buying you a drink for that. So then I'm excited. So now I know at least I guess I said, Dan, I go, between us, I said, you're playing right now. I go, 6 or 7 grand. And he goes, not 7. He goes, definitely 6. And he laughed.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. 5,048 in year 2, and just nobody was doing that.
Unheard of.
No.
That would be like
Unheard
a running back going for 3 grand right now.
Sure would be.
That would be like
You know.
somebody running a 3:10 mile.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That's right.
and prior to Marino, I mean, Fouts was that guy. I mean, he was the prolific passer. I mean, and then Fouts did his thing, and then Marino came on, and then basically after that, I mean, Manning took it to another level, and then now everybody's kind of doing it. Breeze and Brady, these guys.
But Philip Rivers is in the Hall of Fame, isn't he? He goes to the Hall of Fame, doesn't he?
I mean, off statistics, of course. I mean, I don't
When
think
you're
you can argue
8th
it.
all time, it's hard. But they kept Isaac Bruce, who retired at 2 and was still 5. It took him a long time to get in.
I didn't say first ballot. Just
Yeah.
eventually he gets there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, then that answers eventually, easily, the Eli Manning
Oh,
question.
I think Eli's in. He's got 2 Super Bowls.
Then that's something that Rivers doesn't
And you know what else they look at a lot, it seems more and more, is how many times were you a Pro Bowl guy? How many times were you All-Pro?
Yeah. I mean, I think he should get in. I mean, I wouldn't be one of the, I wouldn't be, upset and, throwing things at the television if Philip Rivers got the nod to go to Canton. But the one thing I love about the Rivers conversation, and I still have there is a little bit, I'm a little jaded over like how many people were against the idea or, how ludicrous it was to think that Eli, he won 2 games. Well, those are 2 pretty important games. And if we're going to argue, if those people are going to argue for Philip Rivers, then he has no shot because he never even got to those 2 games. No, it's a team game, first of all. But I mean, if we're going to criticize and ridicule, Eli, I put it this way. I guarantee Giants fans, I guarantee the O'Mara, I guarantee the Maras, I guarantee Manning, everybody in that franchise during the period of Manning being there, if he could have went 15-1 for 10 straight years and never getting a Super Bowl, or maybe them finishing 7-9 and 10-6 and a 9-7, but you walk away with 2 rings, that's at the end of the day what you're going to give those to your grandkids, and your grandkids are going to pass those things down. So to me, I mean, that's what it's about.
Tom Brady, always sort of giving you hints. I definitely think he's not
Tom
going.
Brady, the Cowboy.
I don't think he's
Being
retiring, but I don't think he's going to play for New England. That's just my hunch. I've said that ever since the end of the season came, and I could clearly be wrong because I don't have that much insight. But what's your gut feel, Bo?
Mike, I'm with you, Dave. I think he's going to look, and I think the way they set it up is, they're going to allow him to test the market. Obviously, he's going to be able to do that, and maybe if something doesn't work out, he goes back to New England. But to me, and the only thing I can think of is when LeBron James was first doing his announcement. Is he going to stay or go? I always tell everybody living in the area, listen, if you have good news and everyone's going to be happy, you kind of spring it as quick as you can. When there's something you don't want to hear, and I don't think New England fans are going to want to hear that Brady isn't coming back. I think that's when you kind of say, hey, no, we're not going to do this. Because, I mean, he's been with that organization for 21 years. It would be pretty easy for him, both and Belichick, to say, hey, don't worry about this. We're gonna get this done, and we're both going to be back next year. But I think the posturing, and at the end of the day, I just think Belichick. I think it just comes down to if he doesn't think Brady's the best option for that team to win, and I don't know who's better than Brady under that position, but we've seen it time again with all the long, lengthy list of players Belichick has let go that have been critical pieces, mind you. If he thinks that they can get better, save money, do something else, they move on. But, we've seen it with all the great ones. I mean, he's not going to be the first. He's definitely not going to be the last. But, I mean, when you talk about an iconic figure changing teams, I mean, this is about as big as we're going to see in the National Football League. I agree, Dave. I do think he leaves.
When he made that commercial where he goes, and was it Apple TV? It was Hulu.
Yeah.
Television's going to change, but I'm not going anywhere. What do you think Hulu paid Tom Brady to do that spot?
Probably more than I made.
I've heard people say, Tom Brady, he's got to be in the limelight. He just has to have all the attention. They paid him. They paid him a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how much.
Well, of course he got paid.
Yeah. That's why he did it.
Yeah, probably.
He didn't do it because he needed the attention.
He's pretty private.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but-
He doesn't go out of his way. I mean, he's not going to sell himself. I mean, he does have his endorsement deals, but I mean, we've seen plenty of other athletes have a lot more, face time on television and whatnot. I mean, he kind of keeps to himself.
He does get the Monday Night Football interview every week with Jim Gray.
Oh, West
they pay him for that too, and that is big time pub every week.
And they pay Giselle when Tom's playing. She does it. And instead, when the Patriots are playing on Monday Night Football.
Is she good?
She's
I've
real
never
good.
heard her.
She's real good.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
never
wonder
heard
if
that
I
either.
go back and do a podcast and get that.
I don't.
Do you know?
I don't know. I've never been to the first
I
podcast.
forget. I'm like asking me. What do we know?
I don't know what y'all were talking about when y'all were talking about Hulu.
Oh, come on. You know Hulu. I hope you know Hulu.
Bo, time short, I want to ask you this. What's left for Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh?
I think they're going to ride it out. I mean, after seeing last year, Mason, had his ups and downs. Duck, had his issues too. I think they hope Ben comes back, and I think kind of like the Chargers and the Giants and what the Saints were doing with Drew Brees is, you hope these guys have a few more left. I mean, I think Roethlisberger has one more full year on his contract, I believe. And let him ride that contract out and go from there. Maybe sign him to another season. Real quick though, I think even with Mason and Duck last year, I mean, overall that offense, it's such a hard way to even judge how good either Mason or Duck did because, you basically had, backup running backs, backup receivers. I mean, the offense was just riddled with injuries. So, it's just hard to kind of even get a scope of what was possible, if they had all the pieces in place. Even with Roethlisberger, I don't even think Ben would have had a great time in that offense just because it lacked so many pieces because everybody was off, on the IR and whatnot. But, they're going to give him another year. I mean, he's their best option. And then, 2021, when that contract needs to be renewed, is Ben going to take a pay cut? Is the Steelers going to pony up for, 28, 30-some million for a guy who's going to be, older and it's last year? I mean, big decisions. We're going to see that this year with the Patriots and the Saints. And, next year we're going to see it in Pittsburgh.
Well, I think we're going to be saying a lot of goodbyes here in the next year or two to all this group, Rivers and Breeze and Brady But that's the beauty of the NFL because, we've got Russell Wilson. Oh, and not to mention Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson and Mitchell Trubisky.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
You're just going to let him throw Mitch in.
I love how you got Mitchell Trubisky in there.
Come on.
I love it.
I had to get him.
I'm not familiar with a Mitchell Trubisky. I know a Mitch Mitchell that plays for the Bears.
Would you please get out of here? Bo, thank you, Bo.
Bo, thank you. We'll have longer next week. Thank you, man. Have a good week.
Yes, sir. Have a great week, guys.
You got it.
Bye-bye. That is Bo Marchand.
Who's this Mitch Trubisky you refer to?
.com.
What sorcery is that?
He's the next year All-Pro.
Dave, that's how you get yourself in trouble.
Should I flag the tape?
No.
No, because we'll remember the insanity of that comment.
That was a facetious remark, for goodness sake.
Will he admit to it, though? I mean, he doesn't admit to giving up on the Cubs. Will he admit to that mistake?
I didn't give up on the Cubs. I just analyzed, because my job is to analyze what's going to happen.
Dave, you trashed your Cubs. It was bad.
Whoops, there goes your nose. It just keeps getting bigger. This portion of the show brought to you by Conway. Now's the perfect time to replace the old energy guzzler with the air conditioning coming soon. February is what we call this. The warehouse is full. The crews are slow. What does John Conway do to spark business during these slow winter months? He gives away free brewery and an 80% Carrier gas furnace, absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right. Get the air conditioning system in the month of February from Carrier, and then you get the gas furnace for free. And if that's not enough, an April air cleaner, a 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat. That's the newest and the greatest. Plus 12 months interest-free. So many good reasons is why we call it Free Brewery. All you got to do is make the call, 384-3511. That's Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. It's time for Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live in your life.
you seen anything like that?
We'll take questions again for the student athletes at this time, please.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
Is this thing working? It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Woo! Woo! Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Well, here's the first thing I learned. I'm glad you got that other thing out of there. That's much better. Gosh,
we can bring it back.
No,
I can put it back in.
No, we cannot.
It's never completely
No, we
gone.
don't.
Dave, I learned today that I wish I had never heard the name or ever learned the name, the first sound of the name, Rob Manfred. You cannot make baseball cool. It's a very acquired taste to be a baseball fan. Every baseball fan knows that. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But to make it into a reality TV or to try to make it hipper, it cannot be done. It can't be done. You cannot make baseball cool.
Here is what I learned today. Andrew Coffey. Oh, I'm sorry. Andarius Coffey, who is a 3-star defensive back originally committed to Ole Miss, then decommitted and was going to Duke, has now signed his papers with the University of Memphis. He is a quarterback, defensive back combination from Winona High School. Where's Winona, Mississippi?
On I-55.
Is it? He had a connection to McIntyre, and I think that's really what swung him to Memphis. 3-star guy, so that is a nice pickup for the
You got to go
University
heavy
of
on the
Memphis.
Winona.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I thought that was Judd.
He could have done without this today. Some of the deep dive stories that are now revisiting the events around Colorado and Kobe Bryant in 2003. Sarah Spain from ESPN, she did one of those stories. In 17 years since that happened, she's got to revisit that now. Why the man is barely, we haven't even had the formal funeral service for him. In over 17 years, they got to do that story now. If I'm Vanessa Bryant, I tell ESPN, Sarah Spain better not be in that building on the day of his service.
Forbes is listing the average value of NBA franchises above $2 billion. This is the average. For the first time, the figure has grown, listen to this, Brett, 600% in just the last 10 years. 600%. The average NBA franchise now valued at slightly more than $2.1 billion, with Forbes saying the New York Knicks are worth $4.6 billion. That's
if you could own any NBA team,
15%.
What team would you want to own?
The New York Knicks, because they're now worth $4.6 billion, which just goes to show you location.
That's all they have. That's all they have.
In this growth, this 600% in the past decade, what's the worst franchise of all of them?
They've got
the New York Knicks, and yet they're worth the most.
They've got a lovable dump of a building. That's it.
No, that's the Mecca. That's what everybody wants to go.
I know, but you know and I know it is not nice even after the redo, but it's in New York. Would you really want to own the Knicks if you could own any team?
No, I would probably own the Golden State Warriors, which were third, $4.3 billion, because I love the Bay Area. And if I had $4.3 billion, I could afford to live there. The Lakers were worth $4.4 billion, so they're second. The Chicago Bulls were fourth at $3.2 billion. Boston, $3.1. Clippers are only worth $2.6 billion in the same building.
So big game. Bobby Parra's going to walk out when he at the flip with a lot of money.
Oh yeah. What did he bought it? He bought it for $350 million, right? Wasn't it that his price? And people thought that when I want to say Michael Heisley first offered to the local group, it was like $270, and they thought that was outrageous.
Ooh.
Now I bet you they wish they had taken that deal.
Ooh. Tonight, keeping a close eye on a lot of things. Keeping a close eye on the NBA. a good one on TNT in about 36 minutes. Clippers at 76ers. Portland in New Orleans, first of back-to-back for the Trailblazers. Tomorrow night they're in downtown Memphis. Spurs, a really tough game tonight in Oklahoma City. The second game on TNT, Boston at Houston College. 24-0 San Diego State at home against New Mexico and Arkansas. They need a win on the road at Rocky Top in the SEC. And Ole Miss and Mississippi State coming up pretty soon right after we're done. I don't know if State is real good or poorly coached. I want to see a little more of them down the stretch.
They got a star. I'm looking forward to watching them tonight. And hey, Ole Miss has started playing better, so this should be a good and fun game to watch. This final portion of the show is brought to you by Ken Garland. Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. He knows. Big decision. If you're building that dream home, maybe on land that you own, he knows how to make that land work for that dream home. Or maybe it's a renovation. I call it renovation with innovation, where he takes all of the latest amenities and puts that into that old home. That lot you love feels like an old shoe, so comfortable you don't want to give it up. He can do that. Now, if you're looking for something new, he's got a new development. It's called Alaylon. It's a gated community by Boyle right on Messick Road, east of Kirby all the way to McVeigh. 4-bedroom homes start at $875,000. Get a hold of him at 901-751-1632 or online at kengarland.com. Ole Miss and State, that's next. Have a great night, everybody.